I'm Julie Nelson. Welcome to KARE 11 Extras. These are the stories that take a little extra time to tell, to research, to find. They are meant to inspire, inform, and ignite curiosity. And among the stories in this episode, a call for change, what one area school has decided to do about cell phones in class ahead of a state mandate. Then a heart transplant turned tragedy. Plus the effort now underway to make 2 Minnesotans the state's first saints. But first, we go to the land of 10,000 stories. He was once a Soviet ski coach. Now he's a Minnesota ski hill legend. Boyd Huppert catches up with a skier still going strong at 96 years old.
Good morning, guys.
For some people at Welch Village,
Fantastic.
skiing
Feels great.
never gets old.
Oh, hi boys.
Skiing, perhaps,
Helmet,
but
ski boots.
that doesn't mean
A
skiers.
special fan.
Alex Rivlin's gearing up
Oops,
is a process.
down.
Not surprising
And the last one.
when you're
Down.
how old?
I am, I forgot, 96.
It's one thing
Are you kidding?
for Alex
96?
to amaze inside the chalet. Another out here. The skier carving a path at Welch Village was born in 1928.
Dang, I can't believe he's able to do this.
Born
Nice
before chairlifts
to see you.
were even invented.
I usually sing something.
If Alex isn't lifting his voice in song, he's riding the lift, laughing. Giddiness that accompanies him up and down the hill.
These amazing guys and machines.
A machine of a man built
Very active.
in the time of the hammer and sickle.
Yes, it's me. We were racing in the suburb of St. Petersburg.
Alex first fell for skiing in his native Russia,
Always wearing hat.
where he'd worked as a researcher on a nuclear icebreaker.
Twice, North Pole.
His skis always along,
It's me.
though more for chuckles
For fun, for fun.
than white knuckles.
No heels, only ice, ice and ice.
But back in St. Petersburg, Alex turned up the heat.
The championship of Soviet Union,
He skied professionally
somewhere in the middle.
and became a coach
This one.
for aspiring Soviet Olympians. His passion on display.
I tried to kiss a ski. Mm.
Then, in 2001,
Better life.
Alex
I'm very happy.
immigrated to America,
Out of my way.
where his love for skiing was rekindled on the slopes of Welch Village.
I am running.
Today actually marks his 30th day this season.
Welch's Taylor Jackson
Yes.
keeps count.
Last year it was nearly 60 days, and he was the last one off the hills last year. When we shut down all the lifts, he was the last one out there.
Then Alex left Welch with a promise.
He always makes sure to tell us that he bought a season pass for the next year.
Promise kept for 24 straight years.
This run is my favorite. The cheapest one.
Far from home, Alex is home.
You are part of this place now. You are part of Welch now.
At 96,
I skied yesterday 4 hours.
Alex Rivlin is still not over skiing, nor over the hills.
The ski brings me everything. Happiness,
Boyd Huppert,
health,
KARE 11 News,
and fun.
Welch.
Since that story was shot, Alex has made another half-dozen trips to ski at Welch Village. By the way, he won't be buying a season pass for next year. Welch management let us know they'll be honoring Alex with a lifetime pass to ski and sing whenever he wants. You can watch more from Boyd Huppert's Land of 10,000 Stories anytime on the KARE 11 Plus app for your TV. Just look under the News tab at the top. You can also watch every story from the beginning in 2004 by searching for The Land of 10,000 Stories, the complete collection, on YouTube. Still ahead, what one metro area school is doing about cell phones in class right now, ahead of a state mandate to address the problem.
I never expected my day to go like this.
A call for change targeting cell phones in schools is getting louder. The state legislature is considering a bipartisan bill calling for a total ban on phones for grades K through 8 and a ban in classrooms for high schools. This as school districts were mandated by the state to file their own policies this spring. Nelson Garcia caught up with one school that thinks it has found the perfect balance that actually does not involve a full-fledged ban.
Making a change at Mounds View High School.
I was seeing phones as a disruption to learning.
Means making a plan. For Principal Rob Reitz, who says using cell phones and social media during school caused problems.
We were seeing kids vaping more, increased in-school absenteeism. We were definitely seeing more conflict that was going unresolved because it was living online.
Making a plan doesn't always go as planned for students.
I never expected my day to go like this.
Like Calvin Fant.
I cannot lie.
He's a senior at Mounds View High School.
Is this everybody we got today?
Who initially didn't know, in addition to class, he'd be crafting the plan for school.
I was on the cell phone policy committee. Yeah.
Mounds View Schools created a group of parents, students, and educators,
take in this information,
like Principal Reitz, to talk honestly about cell phones.
You're not very in tune with what's going on outside of your phone because you're still stuck on your phone as you're walking to class, into class, and stuff like that.
The students were hilarious, to be honest. They were so honest about how they get around things we've done to try to curb their use.
I'd go on my phone, or I'd use my phone to find answers or something, and then I know I shouldn't do that, but I did.
Junior Austin Harriet joined Calvin on the cell phone committee.
Because it kind of just changed my mindset in school.
While there's no district plan, Mounds View High School is trying its own plan. Starting this year, students are encouraged to bring their phones to class. They place them in a caddy, cameras down, assigned to numbered pockets.
I used to not like the rule.
Teachers shouldn't have to compete with phones to get kids' engagement.
The caddy system provides something else.
When they start their first activity, I come over and I take attendance.
The idea to take attendance based on phones in the caddy comes from teachers. It's consistency and it's routine.
I gotta say, I've always been okay at taking attendance, just looking out, but it reminds kiddos to put them in there. So if for some reason a student has forgotten to bring their cell phone up here, I find out right away at the start of class.
No phone means an absence, prompting students to comply with the cell phone policy.
We're all here.
While keeping phones in the room in case of emergency.
We want them to be able to have access in those moments to send a reassuring text to their parent, I'm okay.
There's safety concerns with it as well. So it's with this, it's very important to, make sure everybody voices their opinion on something like this.
Making sure students, are following the rules and not on their cell phones and really partnering with them around that.
Heidi Danielson is on the Mounds View School Board, trying to figure this plan out.
Let's make sure we get our phones in the caddy. If you don't have a phone, you know the drill.
Taking current practices,
and it's really worked,
combined with a district-wide survey.
I think we're hearing from a lot of people who think students shouldn't have access to cell phones.
Danielson and the school board will add the results of 2 community events of food and feedback.
We thought this was a great opportunity to engage the community.
And the recommendation from the cell phone committee.
I feel like it kind of uplifted the idea of it.
To figure this plan out.
Middle schoolers and elementary schools using phones. I think that is a big, big no-no.
Wanted to have their opinion registered so they felt like they had an input on that, no matter what was decided in the end.
Making a change means making a difference. An opportunity Calvin never planned on.
Me and Austin both have family members that are younger than us that are going to be coming to Mounds View. I want him to make sure that he's not on his phone. It's a distraction because I did it myself. I don't want them to follow in the footsteps that I followed myself in.
Doing something for them that ensured their voices were heard, that feels good for me too.
In Arden Hills, Nelson Garcia, KARE 11 News.
Senators say they want to hear from school leaders about their new cell phone policies and could be open to proposals, but they still do plan to move toward a ban by the fall of 2026. Coming up, a heart transplant turned tragedy and a promise broken.
We were told that this was a perfect heart.
Right now, a new KARE 11 investigation into a heart transplant, a tragedy, and a family's search for answers. Here's investigative reporter AJ Legault with The Perfect Heart.
At one of the most prestigious medical institutions in the world,
they are a crown jewel of the state of Minnesota.
a KARE 11 investigation uncovered a story they don't want told.
I don't want bad publicity.
A story buried.
Are you saying Mayo put public relations over patient safety?
Quite frankly, I don't know how else to interpret that answer.
A story about secrets and a promise.
They're not going to take a marginal heart.
A promise?
Meth overdose.
A family says was broken.
We were told that this was a perfect heart.
KARE 11 investigates the perfect heart.
Look at this.
Walks down memory lane.
This is our wedding.
For Noah Leopold's wife, Michelle.
We had a beautiful reception.
And proud parents, Norman.
I think this was Noah at his bar mitzvah.
And Karen.
Modest. He graduated summa cum laude.
A lawyer. Like his parents, Noah was an overachiever and overcomer.
At the age of 7, he got cancer.
Noah spent life battling complications from the chemo. By his 40th birthday, his heart was failing. He needed a transplant and wanted it from the best, but told Mayo's doctors there was something he did not want: the heart from a drug overdose. Noah is told by a Mayo ICU doctor in this recorded conversation he doesn't need to rush. There was time, and the transplant team wanted to find him the perfect heart.
You'll be involved in that conversation. Anyone who's had a drug overdose or something like that is considered a high-risk donor.
Not 2 weeks later, Mayo told Noah they had his new heart. He was taken into surgery, and his heart was removed.
And then something horribly went wrong.
Doctors discover the donor heart is too large, a significant mismatch. It starts uncontrollably bleeding and then just falls apart.
They told us that the heart didn't make it and that he didn't have a heart at all.
Days later, Mayo transplanted a different heart, but Noah suffered a brain bleed.
We never expected to leave there without him.
And his family was forced to make the hardest of decisions.
It's still hard to believe.
Now the pain never goes away.
No.
The pain and the questions, like what happened and why. KARE 11's search for answers takes us to the mountains of Idaho.
Who's the deceased?
Where police video reveals Noah received the very type of heart he did not want.
Heroin? Is there heroin? Meth overdose.
We all knew that that's not what Noah would have wanted.
Noah got the heart of a meth addict.
Brandon Thompson, the family's attorney, has brought a federal lawsuit against Mayo claiming medical negligence, negligent non-disclosure, and medical battery.
The lawsuit contends that Mayo denied Noah critical information that he asked about and had a right to know, that the heart being put into his body came from the victim of a drug overdose.
Mayo had an obligation to tell him that, and they didn't.
In its response to the lawsuit, Mayo denied all those claims. They did inform Noah the heart had risk factors for diseases like hepatitis and HIV, and he consented to the operation. Mayo declined KARE 11's interview request, instead sending a statement that says in part, "We follow applicable medical standards of care, guidance of national organizations that oversee organ donation and procurement, and the privacy rights of organ donors who give the ultimate gift to patients."
Minnesota law is very clear.
Thompson points to the Minnesota Patients' Bill of Rights, which mandates patients be given by their physicians complete and current information about their treatment.
That's the law.
Thompson contends there's something else Mayo failed to tell Noah. The donor heart was being transported via OCS Heart in a Box.
That allows transplant teams to keep the organs alive, beating and breathing between the donor and recipient instead of storing them on ice.
The cutting-edge technology expands the donor pool to hearts that previously would not have been considered as options because of travel time and distance. When the Idaho overdose heart came out of the device at Mayo, that's when the problems were discovered.
And what the surgeon describes in the operative note is that the tissue was almost falling apart in his hands.
Would you raise your right hand, please, doctor? You solemnly swear the testimony.
In this videotaped deposition, Mayo's surgeon, Dr. Villavicencio, says he's not sure why the heart fell apart, but he has a suspicion.
I suspect that there may be micro holes, that caused this.
Microscopic tears, he wrote in his operation notes, caused by the OCS Heart in a Box.
Does this event give you any concern about the use of OCS for other donor hearts?
Well, it gives me a concern, of course. We remember our bad experiences.
In case of a bad experience, the FDA has a database called MAUDE that encourages reporting of issues related to medical devices. Carol Levin found 9 reports about the OCS device, but in the year and a half since Noah died, no report about his case. In his deposition, the Mayo surgeon was asked why he did not report it.
Well, I don't want bad publicity.
He did not want bad publicity. In court papers, Mayo calls the bad publicity accusations false and contends there was not enough evidence to report it to the FDA.
We didn't know it was going to be his last birthday.
Noah's family says he was denied the ability to make his own informed decision about what constituted a perfect heart.
We want to make sure that this doesn't happen to anybody else.
To be clear, there's no evidence the heart in a box caused the donor heart to fall apart. As far as we know, no investigation's been done. The manufacturer, when contacted by Carol Levin, said they could not comment. Mayo says they intend to defend the case through trial and are confident a jury will find full informed consent was provided. You can read Mayo's statement in full on carol11.com. For Carol Levin Investigates, I'm AJ Legault.
Up next, the effort now underway to make 2 Minnesotans the state's first saints. There's an effort underway right now to make 2 Minnesotans the state's first saints. How rare would this be? In its 2,000-year history, the Catholic Church is believed to have recognized more than 10,000 saints, but only 11 from the U.S., and of those 11, none from Minnesota. But as Carla Holt shows us, 2 different dioceses in our state believe a missionary and a nun just may be the saints our state's been waiting for.
Devotion may line the hills and halls of the St. Scholastica Monastery. But Sister Anella Wagner recalls the calling both divine
I entered in 1947.
and destined, beginning with her own harrowing birth.
You didn't know if you'd be able to save her life.
When her family had to pray to a nun now being considered for sainthood.
My grandma Wagner had a small relic of Sister Anella Zervis. My mother wore that relic, and they prayed to her, and then when she went back to the doctor, whatever it was, it had cleared up.
Born after a believed miracle within a township named after a missionary, now also being considered for canonization.
I was born in Wu Township.
Sister Anella may bring a passionate perspective to the conversation.
So heroic and self-sacrificing.
But this 95-year-old nun is hardly alone in her fervor.
Thank you very much.
American bishops have already given their blessing to the possible sainthood of Sister Anella Zervis of the Crookston Diocese. an early 1900s nun who inspired others despite a rare disease.
Sister Anella knew our Lord was with her in her suffering.
While down in Duluth,
He's known as the patriarch of the diocese.
Father Richard Kunst leads the exploration of sainthood for Monsignor Joseph Boo, a Slovenian missionary who, in the mid-1800s, made his way to Minnesota.
He'd be the type of guy that's like, well, a baby needs to get baptized, and I've got to walk 40 miles to get there in the snow. And that's what he'd do.
And while his ministry may have ended more than a century ago, Father Kunst says Catholic faithful still find themselves believing in Boo.
All of a sudden, there was always new flowers up there, and that's a sign of devotion.
Which is why the Duluth Diocese decided last summer to exhume his grave and move his remains to their cathedral before beginning their saintly review.
A very strong, in-depth study of him.
After an initial investigation, the case goes before bishops both regionally and nationally, followed by more reviews and eventually valuation by the Vatican.
And then praying, waiting, praying, hoping for a miracle. For the canonization process, there has to be miracles that happen after the death of the person to show that they are, in fact, praying for that same cause, for intercession.
And this saintly step of hoping for a miracle
She needed food for her children, and he would get it.
resonates with Charles Erickson, whose stories from his grandma Frances
She always told me ever since I was a child that he was a saint.
have turned into prayers for his wife, Karen.
They think it's autoimmune disease, but she has a number of lesions, tumors in the brain that have caused brain damage. We pray. We're asked God to help us. And Father Bo is hopefully helping us carry our prayers in there.
A collective call for healing.
We said, well, that's it.
Also explains the renewed search for saints in our state.
It's healing, hope, and joy.
As the leader of the Duluth Diocese, Bishop Daniel Felton knows best the Monsignor Boo story.
He was a pastor at heart, a missionary pastor.
But this bishop believes the saintly search transcends any one candidate or diocese.
We're just looking for those men and women who lived lives that can inspire us to a certain sense of holiness in the world that we live in, just looking for something deeper.
I made my first vows on July 11th.
A 95-year-old nun may define that deeper devotion.
I learned so much.
But Sister Anella Wagner admits she still finds inspiration in saints, both known and not yet discovered.
Like the lives of all the saints, they've always given encouragement to move on, to move ahead, to continue taking care of God's people.
You can always catch up on the latest KARE 11 extras on the KARE 11 Plus app for your TV. Go to the news menu at the top, then scroll down to extras. Thanks for watching.